Imagine a world without Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, or Snow White. It's a world devoid of laughter, wonder, and the magic that only Disney can bring. But once upon a time, this world existed, and a young man named Walt Disney dreamed of changing it. From his humble beginnings in a small town in Illinois to his rise as a global entertainment mogul, Walt Disney's life is a testament to the power of imagination, perseverance, and the American dream. This captivating biography invites you to step into Disney's world and witness firsthand the creativity, innovation, and sheer determination that fueled his extraordinary journey. Join us as we explore the highs and lows of Disney's career, from the early struggles of running his own animation studio to the triumph of creating the first ever feature-length animated film. Discover the secrets behind his iconic characters, the challenges he faced, and the lasting impact he has had on generations of audiences.
Walt Disney was the co-founder of one of the most iconic logos, brands, and animation studios in history, as well as being incredibly successful as a result, earning the most Academy Awards by an individual ever. This short piece will go over the road that led to Walt's legendary success and what he achieved during his lifespan. Before Walt's father was a heavily abusive figure to both Walt and his family. All whilst the financial pressures of trying to survive were a constant worry and burden on Walt and his family. Eventually, Walt would grow sick of his father's abuse and would leave to join the war effort of World War I, lying about his age in the process. Years down the line, Walt would miss his father's funeral, prioritizing a business trip over it, signifying the lack of care and forgiveness he had for his father's actions throughout his life. Disney's first animation studio was a failure also. He had formed a company named Laugh-O-Gram Studios, only for it to be forced into bankruptcy shutdown at the turn of the 1920s. This was when Disney had set out on the road to travel to Los Angeles to attempt to start over, but with little money to his name on his travels, this would prove difficult. This was highlighted by his attempts into acting, where he would fail also. However, it was in this same decade that his first breakthrough in animation had begun when he formed the concept for Mickey Mouse. However, it would take over 300 rejections of funding for his concept before someone would agree to the idea of funding his concept for the now legendary character. One of his final major struggles was during the Second World War, when he had his animators go on strike and refuse to work. This led to Disney's debts flying up, contributed to by the devastation that the World War was having on the world. After Disney's successes, however, are much broader than his failures. He would co-found Walt Disney Productions, as well as create arguably the most iconic character ever made in Mickey Mouse in 1928. And furthermore, he would go on to adapt his concepts of Mickey Mouse and other animation and studio-based efforts into television after the Second World War, in an attempt to recover from the massive debts he had accumulated, which was a decision that not only diversified the company, but would lead to its true nature of exploding into not just a successful animation studio, but an icon for entertainment. His most ambitious and successful venture was still to come, however. In 1955, Walt Disney would open Disneyland. This concept of a magical land that people could escape to for a while was something that exploded in popularity and massively contributed to the iconic image of Disney and the perception that it received from the public eye. Disneyland would go on to become, by far, the most popular and iconic theme park in history, and since its opening, it has accumulated over 700 million visitors, roughly 10% of the world's population currently. In terms of individual successes, he had many. He is still to this day the record holder for the individual with the most Academy Awards received, earning 22 Oscars from just under 60 nominations, a phenomenal record and turnaround for anybody, let alone an animator.